impossible to know what's gonna happen. I think the club want them to stay, but it depends on a lot of factors. To be honest. No, no, no. Don't think so, man. Don't think so. Wow, something that actually had. If you can you as I put things on, can you say in the group that we are on? No? So that okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. The video department one. No? Yeah, because there are two, no. Yeah, yeah. Just so that Marco, he can just let the people know that we are on and all that. GG. Maybe we can we can start with the Gu or Margu situation as it was the more I think the recent most recent one, no? And then we go from then, no? GG GG. Let me just see if everything's on. We'll wait just like 2 or 3 minutes to see if the lads are joining, in the stream, no? And then we go from them. Yeah, yeah, bro. I'm chilling. I'm chilling. Yeah, that's the thing, man. To be honest, I don't like that much the all of this uncertainty that is around the club, man. Much waiting, much I don't know, not knowing what's gonna happen. One to one situation. Nico Williams, yes, no, all of that kind of buggles me to be honest, bro. But there's, uh, but I don't know, man. There's not much else to be honest, no. Yeah, yeah. I think I said it before in the last stream that before I think before the Euros and the Copa America ends, I would be surprised if something moves. To be honest, let me just check something here. Okay, okay, okay. If you don't mind, bro, I'm gonna be making the intro of the stream and come back into less than 2 minutes, and then I call you. Then I'm gonna be muting myself. Yo, 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 yo. How are you doing, lads? How are you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome to the um, BarcaBuzz talk show once again. First of all, I gotta be. I want to ask you. Sorry for you guys for the last time, as we had an internet problem, unfortunately. Um, and weren't able to start the stream, man. To be honest, but not start, but to do the stream as we wanted to. Everything was going fine and all, but then my internet just went to God knows where, man, and that's why we weren't able to continue it, unfortunately. But here we are. We are together with Oscar. I'm gonna be calling him in the next seconds, and then you guys feel free, as you know, to put questions, to chat with us, and all of that good stuff. Hello, Karshan. How are you doing? How are you doing, man? Welcome to the stream. Speak about 1-1 rule updates, bro. We will do it. I think you guys were were listening to the chat. No, I tried to mute my. I should have muted my mic, man. I muted the audio from the computer, but on the mic. But wow, but it works the same. But we'll do it. We'll do it. Just I'm gonna be calling Oscar, and then we start. Just a moment. Let me see something. Okay. So yeah, here we are with Oscar, the one and only, the English man from BarcaBuzz. That is always here with us. How are you doing, bro? Welcome to the stream, man.
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I mean, it's just good to see some actual football going on, obviously, with the Euros, etc., and the Barca players doing well on the most part in the Euros. You have some really good individual performances across the board. Yeah, no, it's great to see, mate. And I think it's just distracting me a little bit off the chaos, which is Barcelona off the pitch at this moment in time, mate. You know, at one stage, it's Barcelona will get 1-1, and they will be able to make transfers they want to make. Other stages, it's Barcelona got to sell to buy and different bits and pieces, controversy here, controversy there. Yeah. Players' agents saying one thing, Barca saying another. It's just a crazy, chaotic world of Barca at this moment in time. But I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. How are you?
I'm doing well, bro. I'm doing well, doing fine. Chilling here. Actually, I think for you is almost at the night. No, I am still in the afternoon, but no, it's chilling.
Where I am, it is 7:47 p.m. So it's
because
it's still a lot of the day to go yet.
But, England is 1 hour before every other country in Europe. No, if I'm not wrong.
No, it's 1 hour behind actually. I think it's like 8:40.
Behind, because I think, for example, in Spain is 8:47, no, something like that.
Yeah, I think in Spain it's should be 8:47. I think. What time is it where you are, mate?
I am actually 3:47 p.m.
3:47.
Yeah, so 5 hours. Okay. I'm 4 hours behind you and 5 hours Central European time. Oh, that.
Ah, good stuff. Good stuff. Is it the because obviously Brazil being such a big country, I might be showing me ignorance here. Does Brazil have all the same time zones across the country? Or is it a bit like America in terms of?
Basically, all of the countries the same, but there, I think, if I'm not wrong, there's 2 regions. Well, there's one. I don't know if you heard sometime about Fernando Pessoa. It's an island that is here in Brazil. That's quite unknown, to be honest. And there is a different time. I think 1 hour before or 1 hour after. But basically, the rest is the same.
Brazil being a bigger country, it might have different time zones and a lot. It's like America and Russia and places like that. It's yeah.
No, but talking. I wanna ask you something about the Euro, but someone in the chat asked before I was answering, but you were actually talking about the 1v1 situation, all of that. And someone in the chat said, talk about the 1-1 rule updates, bro. The thing is, there's no update, man. that's the point.
Yeah, there's nothing at all.
At the moment, nothing has changed. You know, we are waiting to see if there's actually should, for what I've read, it should have been this week to the official confirmation.
Yeah, I think it should be next few days. I believe it should, maybe even this weekend.
Wednesday, I think it should have been, according to Gerard Romero. I watch a lot of his streams and all that. It should have been last Wednesday, man. This Wednesday, actually. But
Wednesday just gone, 26th.
Yeah, 2 days ago, basically. but apparently it didn't. So I don't know if it's about it's documentation stuff or because I think Barca needs to confirm the deals, no, the Nike deal and the other 40 million that is just I don't know if you know the maths and
Yeah, I
all of
mean
that.
that is
It's
massive.
but it's difficult to kind of understand how it works. As you can do your finger. I'm gonna try to find some tweet here to see if there's something
Yeah, I
someone
mean,
updated.
obviously, the general idea, I think, of the one-to-one deal is that Barcelona can be more adventurous in the transfer market in terms of who they can sign and who they can't sign. Because obviously, at this moment in time, the last couple of transfer windows, it's been much more of sort of a 1-to-5 kind of situation. Obviously, the money Barcelona bring in, only 1/5 of that they've been able to spend on transfers and wages, and that is a massive. Without it goes without saying, that's a massive hindrance to Barcelona's transfer plans. This is why we've seen deals such as Sergio Busquets leaving and being replaced with Oriol Romeo.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason we're seeing deals like that happen. In terms of it as being a desperate situation for Barca in that regard. So it's massive, really, for you know you could say for Barca's season, but certainly for these transfer plans, it's going to be absolutely massive as well. And I think for Hansi Flick's plans as well, in terms of he must have one plan if Barca do get to 1-to-1, and another plan if Barca don't get to 1-to-1. So it is going to be very interesting in that regard. And if it does come to that, Barca are going to have to prioritise things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 'cause the problem is that yeah, go on. Go and say something, no? Ah.
Sorry, that was a sneeze. That's
Okay. I just seen that in my other computer here. No, but bless you, mate. Uh, what
Cheers, mate.
I was going to say is that the thing is that even if you go to the one-to-one rule, it doesn't necessarily guarantee you that you are able to sign, no? Because, well, if I'm not wrong, what it makes is that, for example, let's imagine that, for example, Barca, we can talk about that as well. Barca sells Marguil for 6 million, that is his release cost. All of these 6 million can be used to on other signings or on other things, no?
Yeah.
But to the registration stuff and all of that, I don't actually know if it guarantees. But what it guarantees is that every money that you receive, you can spend it, which of course makes things easier. But for example, for Nico Williams, you still have to pay the clause, for example, no.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not Barca aren't going to be able to, sign every single superstar. They're not going to be able to sign, like, say, Kevin De Bruyne and Erling Haaland in one summer and things like that. It's going to be very, still very limited. And I think obviously we'll talk about Nico Williams in more detail, but it feels to me like, from what's been said, it feels like two positions are being focused on for Barcelona: the holding midfield position, the number 6 position, the CDM, whatever you want to call it, the defensive midfield position, and the left wing position. And it feels to me like, in terms of Barca making the marquee signing, I think they have to choose one in terms of where to make the marquee signing. So I think, say, for example, if it's Amadou Onana or Nico Williams, it's going to have to be one or the other, really, unless something massively turns around for Barca this summer. It feels like one of those two is going to have to be a priority. They can't not going to be able to sign both, so that's a decision to make in itself. So yeah, Barca are not going to be in a position where in terms of they're going to have a squad as eye-catching as what Real Madrid's squad is at this moment in time, the Man City squad, but it's still better news. It's still better news than where Barca were this time last year or where Barca were 2 or 3 years ago. We are going to be able to hopefully spend some money. Obviously, a lot of it depends on who can Barca allow to go or can get rid of
That's
in some instances. Say like Frankie De Jong is obviously someone that I expect is going to be quite a big topic of conversation throughout the summer. Really, say Frankie De Jong left, that would open more avenues to sign other players as well. So yeah, in that kind of regard as well, it's going to be interesting.
it's interesting that you said that because there is another name I would like to put in the question. Is someone Sumamam asking the chat, what is all about the Araujo renew? Is Araujo who's being reluctant to it as he Barca looking for funds? Bro, actually, it's an interesting one because apparently, but I don't know if it's actually confirmed. Apparently, Barca already sent a renew for Araujo like weeks ago, but I personally haven't seen like top source saying that. For example, Fabrizio Romano or even Matteo Moreto or something like that. So I don't know if actually this offer it has came. But apparently Araujo is waiting to see. I don't know, waiting the Copa America, waiting if he's gonna have another offer and all that. But the point is, you were talking about Frankie De Jong. If you have to sell like one of these players, who do you sell first, man? Frankie De Jong or Araujo? Which one of those you think like is more detrimental to the squad, and which one of them, if you have to sell one, who would you sell and who would you keep? I want to hear it first, and then I give my opinion as well.
Yeah, I think I'd say Frankie. I think it's definitely Frankie. I think if you look at it from the context of Hansi Flick's football, I think Ronald Araujo's the far better fit. I think obviously the fact that Araujo's younger as well. I do think Araujo would probably fetch a bigger fee than what selling Frankie De Jong would in that kind of regard. With Araujo being younger, probably held in higher esteem, amongst the European clubs than what Frankie is really at this moment in time.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably go down that route myself. I think really Barca, Pedri, Gundogan, Gavi, I think are all well ahead of Frankie in the pecking order for me. And that's
Mm-hmm.
before you add maybe an Onana or a holding midfielder to the equation. It feels to me that you obviously factor in Fermin Lopez as well.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously Barca next season will probably be playing a 4-2-3-1 system. You'd have to think there's enough competition there in those two positions behind number 10, because Frankie's
Mm-hmm.
not going to play at number 10, where
Not
Frankie
at
won't
all,
play
actually.
anyway, really, as a starter. And I think with Frankie now, it's probably got to the point where it probably is time to move on.
Yeah, especially having
It
only
probably
two
has.
2 years at his contract, no? I would prefer to sell than to lose for free, for example.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, that's the other issue as well. Is Frankie's contract's running down, and the Ronald Araujo situation is a curious one, really, because obviously Araujo directly addressed these questions, saying he was just focused on the Copa America rather than saying he was totally committed to Barcelona, which is probably what the media trained answer would be. One answer you'd expect, and I think that's probably what kind of kicks off the whole situation. Really, I think if Araujo had just said yeah, I'm totally committed to Barcelona. I don't think there really much talk about this at this moment in time. I think the fact he just gave the answer he gave, whether he knowingly did that or didn't do that, who knows? I'd probably go more along the lines of he didn't really realise it caused the fuss that it has caused.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's an interesting one because there hasn't really been any direct mentions of what the contract offer is, the
Yeah,
length of the
exactly.
offer.
That's
Is there a release clause in there? It's hard to really be critical of Ronald Araujo before you know the full context. Are Barcelona even in the position to offer Ronald Araujo a contract, a new contract? Because we'd have to imagine he's going to be a key player under Hansi Flick, in terms
mm-hmm.
of playing, high
Playing style,
pressing,
no?
high defensive line. Ronald Araujo is probably your number one option at the back. Obviously, Kubasi for me is the number one talent, but in terms of who's going to fit the system best, you'd have to say Araujo and probably Jules Koundé.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd have to imagine with that, Araujo, would you have to offer him improved terms to his current contract? Has he earned that as well? If you have to look at it, his current performances, you'd have to be brutally honest and say, no, he's probably not earned the right to have much improved terms in terms of salary. So it's a difficult one for Barca. So I'm not getting too critical about that. And I think what I will say is Araujo, I'd love him to stay, no question
Mm-hmm.
about it. I think if Frankie went, I'm not actually saying Frankie has to go and stuff like this, but I do think Araujo, if he left, it would hurt Barca a lot more.
Mm.
But with
That's the
that,
point
you
for
obviously
me.
look at Barca's other options: Christensen, Kunde, Kabassi, Inigo. They have got other options at centre back. Are they as good as Araujo?
Mm.
Who knows? But
Yeah. As
I'm
Araujo, I don't think
fairly
there is
mixed
another
about
one,
most,
to
to
be
be
honest.
honest.
The
What's
no,
the
the
sorry, mate?
no. What is sorry? What I said is as Araujo, center back as Araujo. To be honest, I don't think Barca has one. But the point, I think, is what probably generated all of what is generating all of this uncertainty around Araujo. I think is exactly what you said. The interviews that he has given, and he has kind of let things in the air, and that's why I think the culés and the Barca fan base is kind of a bit nervous. But to be honest, I would wait a bit. To be honest, I'll wait for the Copa America end and to see what's gonna happen. People in chat are asking. Frank De Jong first or both? No, I am with Oscar, man. I would go with. I would try to sell Frank as well. because is the point. I think is a more is a player that you are is a player that if you get rid of him, if you sell, uh, you aren't gonna be regretting. I think Araujo with selling. I have put it the transfer market in the stream of and the value of every player. For example, Araujo has a transfer market of 70 million. I don't know if it's accurate or not. And De Jong has 70 as well. So in terms of price, both players are basically the same. Now the thing is, if a team would offer something like that, I don't know. I think for Araujo maybe. For Frankie, I would have a little bit more doubts. But as is the thing is the point that Oscar said is the functionality in the squad, man, in the team, and for what Flick wants, man. I think a center back as Araujo is much more detrimental and important than a CDM as Frank de Jong, to be honest. Because, for example, when Gavi comes back, or if we sign another DM, which I think is the objective of the club as well, I think Frankie importance in the team would go a bit under the radar, no? But it's an interesting one, man. I think probably they're definitely the two players, the most clear ones, no?
Yeah, I
To
think
sell.
so. I think obviously there's been mentions about Rafinha,
Uh huh.
Ferran as well, but I think Ferran maybe like one we might be able to throw him into the equation in
Yeah,
terms
but
of free who could leave.
you
But I don't
said
think transfer value would be as high with Ferran, for example.
have you seen but have you seen the what Ferran said yesterday? I think that he's gonna be staying in the club 100%. No.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I'd imagine he's probably a player Hansi Flick would like quite a lot. I don't think
Uh huh.
Ferran will be a starter next season. I can't really see that
I
unless he
don't. I
has
don't.
another, strong pre-season. In terms of the shark returns in pre-season. But I don't. I think Ferran's a useful player to have off the bench. I'll definitely say that much. He has
Mm-hmm.
got quality to his game. He's not. I think with Ferran, there's a very very big tendency with Ferran to go from one extreme to the other, where people overrate him and then
Mm-hmm.
underrate him,
Yeah.
very quickly.
Yeah. It's
He never seems to be, to me anyway, he never seems to be just rated as a decent sort of 7 out of 10 okay player. He always seems to either be absolutely terrible
six,
or
seven.
be
No, even less than that. No
excellent
people rating.
kind of thing. It's like it feels like that. I don't know if you would agree with that, mate. It just feels like he's one of those. He's just that type of player.
Uh, the thing is, I think he's a little bit inconsistent. I think
Mm.
we talked that I don't know if in the first part and the second that the problem if you run that he's a good player, of course. He has some characteristics and skills that not many forwards have, not only in Barca but in football in general, in terms of movement, in terms of attacking spaces, all of that. I think is very very important for Barca. But the thing is that he's not neither a proper winger, neither a proper forward, no. And
Yeah,
so
no, exactly that.
it's
He's
kind of difficult to fit him in the team, you know. So that's
Yeah, exactly.
the problem is that I think that's why he sometimes he plays 30 minutes, then he plays in the starting 11, then he doesn't, then he comes back to the bench and all of that. He's always kind of a roller coaster with Ferran, no? So
Yeah, I mean, it's got the João Felixes about it, hasn't it? Really, in
yeah,
terms
yeah,
of he's
just
not a winger.
basically the
I think
same,
he's
bro.
more direct than João Felix, but he's not a winger. He's not a striker. He's not really number 10. It's like it's an awkward player, especially in a system like Hansi Flick's, where he has got specifically got wingers in the system and a number 10 in a fixed position behind the striker. It feels like you do need out and out profiles, not just kind of like players that can. Utility players is what we tend to call them utility players in England, and that's probably how
Hmm.
it's kind of describe Ferran in terms of he doesn't really excel in one role, but he can do a decent job in several different roles, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Uh, just to ask some to answer some of the questions in the chat that I don't wanna lose anyone. Someone had asked. I said any update on Fai to Porto. So man, I have put it here in the screen. Apparently, uh, the, apparently you know. It happened. Deco was at Portugal, no, at Porto yesterday, I think, to try to close the deal. But the thing is that there is kind of a disagreement in terms of the payment, no. Barca like I think 10 to 15. Let me see if I found if I find the Romano tweet, but he had said no, the Barca wanted like 10 to 15, but Porto only
Yeah, that was the
wants to pay
initial
5
fee.
million, no. So it's kind of in on that point, no. If the clubs don't find an agreement in there, I think Barca also wants a buyback clause and all that, no. But I don't know what you think, Oscar. But I think slowly, but sooner rather than later, there will be agreement because I think he wants to go there, and Barca, of course, needs the money. And to be honest, I don't know if he would have that many minutes this season in the first team. So it's a
No,
good
that's
money
exactly it,
nonetheless,
mate.
no.
I think he's a very talented player. I don't think he's ready for the Barca first team just yet.
Mm-hmm.
I think really it's the best for both parties, really, in terms of. I think what is key is the buyback clause. I think that's the main thing for
Yeah,
me.
that's the point, no?
Fundamentally, if he does reach the potential that he can reach, then
Mm-hmm.
absolutely Barcelona, and hopefully, if it's say it's in a year or two's time, Barcelona are in a position to go for that buyback clause. In terms of financially a bit more stable and more able to make a deal like that happen. By all means, I think the 10 to 15 million is something else as well. I think 5 million is obviously the fee that seems to have been settled on, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that seems very cheap to me. Considering the players you could sign for 5 million, it seems like it's up to like that. Going for 5 million seems a bit cheap. But what I would say is if it does include the buyback clause and it's just pure profit for Barca,
Uh-huh.
albeit not a lot of profit, then yeah, maybe best to go for it if in that kind of regard. I think the buyback clause is very important
Mm-hmm.
in that kind of case because who knows? It feels to me like long term. Obviously, Ronald Araujo is still very young. Christensen's still relatively young as well. Inigo obviously getting on a little bit more as well. He's a bit older, but it felt to me like Kubasi and Faye was the back line that was planned really. In terms of from La Masia, in that kind of regard. It's I don't know if you'd agree with that, mate. It felt to me like that was kind of what Barca were aiming towards at some point in the next sort of 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the thing with FI is the buyback clause. I think kind of it guarantees the it guarantees a little bit of control in the player, no? In the sense,
Mm.
if for example, imagine he goes to Porto and does very well, and I don't know, Barca loses a center back in the next year, and then you have the option to bring Fire back for a decent price. To be honest, no, that I think is the point, and
Exactly.
also
Yeah.
why Barca would like that, no? But yeah, man, I think a little bit the same because I think 5 million is too cheap, but 15 to 20, for example, I think would be for Barca would be incredible. But in Porto perspective, I think it's a little bit too much to be honest. So
Yeah, it feels like 10. 10 would be
10, I
about
think 10 will
fair.
be 10 in the buyback clause, and also I have put the Romano tweet, the sell-on clause. I think that is a good deal for the all of parties, no.
Yeah, I think so. And hopefully that is something that Barca and Porto meet at really in that kind of sense. But I could definitely see Faye doing really well with Porto. I think Porto have got a good record with this type of player, younger player in terms of developing in that regard. And yeah, I think it could work out well in that kind of regard. It just obviously the other factor is will Faye want to come back to Barca? Let's
Yeah,
make sure there's
yeah,
not
yeah.
too much. As we'd say in England, there's not too much bad blood in that kind of deal that we haven't kind of stood in Faye's way. We've kind of been cooperative and the same with the player as well, and maybe that could happen in the future. I think. Listen, I don't think the player's stupid. I think he realises there's a lot of talent that
Mhm.
Barcelona already have in the centre back position, and it isn't going to be easy for him to break through in his Barca team, and that's maybe why he's doing probably the best thing for his career and making the move now.
Mhm. Uh, so we can actually sell Ferran and promote Unai Hernandez, no? Unai Hernandez from Barça B, no, from Barça Athletic. Yeah, we could, but the thing is not. The problem is not wanting to sell the player. The problem is the player wanting to go. And if the player has a
Mm.
contract and doesn't want to go, Barca can not do much, to be honest, unless you want to try to give a letter of freedom to the player. But letter of freedom is basically zero. basically any player accepts, because you have to live for completely free, So I don't think that would happen, to be honest, man. But let me see. That is the next question. Here is a very interesting one. Any possibility of Barca getting a right back and moving Koundé to the center back? I want to hear what Oscar thinks about that. But I would say that probably would depend a little bit in the Araujo's future, man. In my opinion, because if you sell Araujo, for example, and then you want to you sell Rahul, but you don't want to bring another center back to not have a headache. For example, you put Kunde to the center back, and then you try to bring a right back. But I think that probably is the logic for Frimpong, for the name of Frimpong being there. Because apart from that, I don't know why would Barca necessarily would want Frimpong, because I don't know if he fits what Barca needs. To be honest, he's an incredible player, of course, but don't know if what Barca needs. But that is a bit the point, man. But if not, man, I to be honest wouldn't move Kunde from the right back, because I think he worked a lot to kind of establish himself there. He has done it at club level and also at national team level, because for you guys that have been watching France at the Euros, in my opinion, for to be honest, I think he's been doing very well, and so I think it would be a waste, no, to take him out for there. But what do you think, man? If Araujo leaves, would you put Kunde in there, or would you keep Kunde in the right back to bring another right back in the same way? What do you think, bro?
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I think definitely the case. I think it does feel like obviously Frimpong. I think another mention I saw about Frimpong was potentially to play on the right wing, potentially, because he has played a
Yeah,
lot this season the
yeah,
wing
but you have
back.
Lamine in there, no? So,
He did play there for Holland against France as well.
uh-huh.
But yeah, it's a hard one. I know what you mean. I wouldn't personally be for doing that. I think Barca have got enough quality on the right wing anyway, to really be considering kind of like trying to play a player, out of position to cover another position. It doesn't really make sense to me. I think for me, Kunde is getting better and better at right back. I still think
Yeah.
obviously elements of his attacking play need to improve in terms of obviously the final delivery or the final pass. But I think technically, he suits the position really well. Defensively, I think he's as good as anyone. I genuinely do believe that. I think he's as good as anyone defensively, 1v1 at right back. I think he did a superb job um, in the big games this season, really, in that position. And I think he's getting better and better. Listen, obviously, Kunde himself would probably prefer to play at centre back, but it does feel like he's committed now to this
Yeah,
right
I
back
think now
position.
he finally kind of accepted that his role is a right back, man. That's
Yeah, it
that's a
feels
bit
that way.
why I would be reluctant to taking him out of there, to be honest.
I think so because it feels a bit mixed up if you're kind of saying to Kunde, you got to play it right back, and then Kunde says, "Oh yeah, I'm up for it now for playing it right back," and then suddenly you say, "Oh no, you're
They're
playing
taking
back at
him off,
centre
huh?
back." I think what we've seen with Kunde this season, certainly season just gone, and maybe the season before, is when he did go to centre back, he probably didn't play as well. To be honest, when he did go back, despite him being a centre back, I think sometimes when you're playing one position for so long, you get used to that position. Then all of a sudden you're moving back into your old position. It's kind of like confusing, isn't it, in that kind of sense? But yeah, I agree with you. I think if Araujo was to leave, Kunde is the most natural solution to that. But ideally, for me, Kunde will be at right back, Araujo will be alongside him at the right side of centre back spot. Kubasi will be at left centre back, and Balde will be at left back. I think that's the best back four Barcelona have got in a defensive sense. Obviously Christensen you might be able to throw in there as well. In terms of one of the two centre back spots, but it doesn't feel to me like a necessity for Barca. I think Barca, their focus has got to be on needs rather than wants. In terms of signings that they do need to make, I think left wing's
Priorities,
one,
no?
holding midfield's one. Right back, they've already got a good performer. Hector Force as well. I know he's probably seen more as a left back now, but he can also play at right back. There's no question about that. And I think another player you've got to throw into the mix as well is who could be coming back to Barca is João Cancelo. If João
Yeah.
Cancelo comes back, all of a sudden there's no need to bring in another right back because you've got cover at right back and left back. For me, even if João Cancelo comes back, I'd still be saying Koundé and Balde should be ahead of him. So I don't really see a need for Barca to go recruiting in positions where they're already strong. Certainly not for spending the big money that a Frimpong would require. As much as I do rate the player, I don't think it's worth it. I think Barca should be spending the big money on positions that they need to really upgrade. And I think you can win titles with Koundé at right back for me, and Balde at left back. Barca have won
Has
titles with
already done,
those
yeah.
two.
That's what I want to say. Have already done. Have
It's
Barca has won a La Liga for that
one of the
hasn't
best
won.
defenses in the Liga
Yeah,
history.
exactly.
With that back four,
That's
obviously
not the
with
problem, I think.
Kabassi, Christensen, but it's good.
Yeah. No, no, for sure. I think that's exactly the point, man. I think is doing that is just, I don't know, trying to bring another right back is adding another problem to already a lot of problems that you have in the not problems but the priorities. No, in terms of signings, I
Yeah.
think it's clear that left wing and CDM are the most important and the most the positions that we need to improve the most. No. Uh, uh,
You have to be in a good position to be able to spend, what the Frimpong costs, about 55 million.
yeah, I
You've got to
think
be
it's
in a good
around
position to
that. Yeah.
be buying a right back for that kind of money for me. And as good as he is, and as good as Barca's squad is at this moment in time, I don't think we can justify spending that kind of money on a right back. If it was
No,
a
no, not
loan
at
to
all.
buy in the kind of a Cancelo mould,
Uh huh.
I'd be a little bit more up for it. But there's no way Frimpong's going to be going to Barca on a loan. Leverkusen have got no reason to do that. So, yeah, it's not something I'm keen on, to be honest. And I think the right back position's okay for the time being.
Okay. 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 Um, I'm just gonna answer just one or two questions more in the chat, and then we can do the thing that we were talking before of analyzing each player, each situation, and then see that this player we keep, this player we sell, and then we can kind of see where the squad would be, But that's someone had asked about Danny Rodriguez, which I don't know if you know much about him. To be honest, is the juvenile player, no? Is a winger, no? And a lot of players, a lot of people talk well about him. I haven't seen him that much, to be honest, but could be a decent option for a preseason, I think. And then also being the first in dynamics, no, depending on how he performs. What about giving a chance to Ansu Fati left wing? No, that's the one of the big points as well. I have already always said that I will do for sure, at least in the preseason. Give him the opportunity to show, and then he has to be the one to show, no, to demonstrate his qualities that we know that he has. But of course, with the injury, all that is difficult. But I will give him the possibility, and then going for then decide, no, what we do with Ansu Fati, no.
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? I think obviously there will be players getting opportunities in pre-season. I don't think there's any question of that. Obviously,
Yeah, there is.
the next players from La Masia. Yeah, I think obviously during the season as well there'll be a Pau Kubasi or a Gavi from a few years ago. Yeah, there'll be a player who comes through who really takes it by storm. We know this. It's always been the case with Barca. Whether Barca are doing well or not so well, there'll always be someone from La Masia always ready to step up in that kind of sense. I think the most likely is Mark Casado. I really do. I do believe that. I think the fact that there's quite a lot of PR going on around Casado at this moment in
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
it does feel like that's the case. He's been doing a lot of interviews recently, and I think the fact Barca
But I think he's a good player. I think he's a player that
yeah, I
can
think
give
it,
this
it does feel like the natural player for Barca need at this moment in time. A holding midfielder, someone who can play in that spot. And listen, if he does well in pre-season, this is something we need to remember. If he does well in pre-season, all of a sudden Barca might have less of an issue in terms of this holding midfield spot. In terms of if he can. Listen, I'm not expecting a Gavi or Pedri kind of impact because I think those two are truly special players. I think it was obvious within 10 minutes of their debuts for Barca that they're going to be truly special players. Casado has seen a little bit of, and he looks a decent player. Whether he's a holding midfielder or more of a double pivot player, who knows? But he's an option for Barca. There's no question about that. So it's an interesting one in that kind of regard. But yeah, I'd say he's a decent option to have. I think he's the most likely to probably break through this season. Obviously, Metafort has played a few games this season, but I think he will probably be another one to look out for. Still kind of class him as La Masia rather than Barca first team at this moment in time. And yeah, it's an interesting one in that regard. Obviously, Hansi Flick hasn't got the same reputation as Xavi in terms of giving academy players chances to play games and and giving them opportunities to lesser experienced players. That isn't something he's proven at doing, but it's not also something he's not proven to not do at the same time as well. So I'm not going to hold that against Hansi Flick. He's just not had the opportunity to show if he is that type of manager or not. Because Bayern's academy is nowhere near the level of Barca's academy at this moment in time, in most cases. So it'll be interesting in that kind of regard. But I do feel, this is an opportunity for Rodriguez and other players from La Masia. But I do have a feeling it's hard to guess, because to guess Kauki Bassi.
Yeah, you never know. No, if these players is always like a little bit not random, but it's you cannot predict. No,
I mean,
who would know
I
that
thought
Kubarsi would be in the first team
to
for
come
me?
through. Yeah, it's a hard one. I mean, Lamine Yamal, who'd have guessed that, 16 he'd be having this kind of impact. I thought it'd be 17 or 18, at the earliest, until Lamine Yamal will be ready to start games, and that's proven to be totally wrong. So, and there be players as well who surprise you in a bad way as well. Unfortunately, say Ansu Fati, for example, hasn't quite developed rather the way we hoped, and other players from. I'm trying to think of other examples. Obviously Mingueza. Is Mark Gee, in terms of he's not quite happened for him. So that's more in terms of game time. So it's always hard to say. It is always hard to say at this moment in time. But if it was hands to guess out of the players to probably watch out for, it feels like Casado to me. It feels like there's got to be some kind of plan for all this PR around Casado to be going on in terms of these interviews. And, it's quite a big thing in terms of what was made of Casado becoming a first team player. It felt like a lot of noise, for nothing. If it is the case, I don't feel that will be the case. I think he will be getting minutes next season, and certainly in pre-season.
Yeah, for sure. And also, if I think that the renewal that he had, I think shows that Barca trusting a lot, and for sure he will be having opportunities. There's an interesting question here. Who's going to live in the left wing position with the traffic with Ferran, Felix, Fati, and Rafinha? Man, to be honest, I would probably say to you, if I was if I had the option to choose, no, I would try to keep Rafinha and Fati, man. I think they're the two players that we can. Out of those four, I think the ones that can give more to Barca, no? And Rafinha, what I would do to Rafinha is put him in the right wing and then try to bring Nico, for example. But yeah, I would try to keep Fati and Rafinha. Felix, we'll talk about each player in a second, but Felix, I would try to. I wouldn't keep him, let's say. No, not say get rid of him, but not keep. And then Ferran try to sell, man. But with Ferran is every window we think we're gonna sell him, we never do. But let's see.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'd agree. To be honest, I think the way I look at it is, I'd agree. I think Rafinha and Fati would be my priorities in that kind of regard. But I think the reality is it'll probably more likely be Rafinha and Ferran. Unless Fati has a really good pre-season, it does feel to me like it could be, unfortunately, the end of the road for Ansu. Felix, I don't know. I don't. I think the problem with Felix for me is, I think similar to Ferran really, is what's his best position. And if we're still asking this question when Felix is in his mid-20s and had a full season at Barca, is the inconsistency of Felix as well. I'm not sure. I'm not sure it's a deal I go with. It says that Felix physically as well. Does he stretch the pitch enough for the other players to, to create space for the other players to, operate in? I don't think he does that well enough. I think the profile of Barca's wingers next season, certainly the Flick, will be lots of pace, lots of direct running. It does feel to me like Felix offers that in the same sense of Yamal, Rafinha, or Nico Williams. And the other thing to add about Rafinha is the fact that he can play on the right, he can play on the left.
Exactly.
That's a very useful option to have when it comes to squad build.
It's an interior as well, and depending in the match, no, in the middle.
He's had some decent games there too. And I think the thing I'd say is that if Barca are in a situation at the end of the transfer window where they've got an option of Yamal, Rafinha, and Nico Williams as a free, because they can all exchange positions and share minutes, so one's not getting overloaded on minutes, especially with Yamal. I think that's a great position for Barca to be in, and whoever takes up the fourth spot, if it's Ferran, if it's Felix, if it's Anzu, or if it's someone else we've not even mentioned, I think that's a decent position for Barca to be in. I think if your fourth choice is Ferran, Felix, or Anzu,
No,
you're
it's
not in a
okay.
bad spot in terms of your wingers, and I think that is one of Barca's strong positions is the wings. I think midfield and centre back is fundamentally the strongest, but I think the wings, can be a very strong asset for Barca as well next season.
And I think probably will be what. That's why I think it's important to bring the left wing as well. Even if I think the CDM is more important, but I think left wing is important because the way Flick likes to play with a lot of verticality, a lot of intense and dynamic play. I think the wingers will have a lot of importance, no, in his team as they did in Bayern, no, and with Gnabry and Sané, no, and also Musiala in there, no. There's a question I think you're gonna like, man, because I know you like a lot this player. Do you think that Amadou Onana is a better option than Kimmich or the previous candidates? I gotta be honest that to be honest before the Euros I didn't know much about Onana. Not that I didn't know him, but I hadn't watched them many Everton matches this season, to be honest. But I had watched I think the first two or the first two Belgian matches, man, and the guy surprised me, man, in a very positive way, and he has a lot of details and a lot of things that I think what Barca needs, no, in this CDM's position, and especially playing with a double pivot, man. If Flick ends doing that, because the guy is strong, good in the ball, gets well in the air and all that. So I would super prefer Kimmich, man, especially having worked with Flick before, and I think he's a more well proven player, no. But Onana, man, if you cannot get Kimmich, and Onana is in a decent price, but I think he will be more expensive, no. Onana is a very good option, man. No, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I agree. I think fundamentally Onana's a very good player. I think personally I'd have Onana ahead of Kimmich, but I do appreciate Kimmich as well. But I think in terms of what Barca needs, in terms of power in midfield, I think it's a fundamental thing. I think technically, when you've got a midfield of Pedri, Gavi, Gundo, even Frankie, if you want to include Frankie, for me, it's a very strong midfield technically. It just needs some power
He likes a
alongside it
little
as
bit of
well. And
physicality, no?
Onana, yeah, physicality, a bit of aggression, and I like to call it nastiness as well in midfield. I think Barca are a little bit too nice at this moment in time in midfield, and across the team, really. I think they do need a bit more power as a team, both on set pieces, in transitions, defensively. I think Barca are definitely found wanted in certainly Champions League matches and tough La Liga away games, this season. And last season as well, really. We have to remember Barca have severely underperformed in Europe for quite a long time now, and it feels like Onana is the type of profile that Barca have ignored for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think what impressed me most about Onana was actually seeing him like yourself, mate. In terms of the Euros, he's really impressed me. I was in Dublin 3 months ago and I watched Ireland play Belgium, and he came on in that game. Sorry, he started that game and then went to centre back, and it was the fact he just looked so comfortable switching positions, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the versatility Barca need in midfield. If we are going to play a single pivot, Onana's an option. If you're playing a double pivot, Onana's an option. And yeah, I think he suits this Barca team really, really well. Kimmich, I also appreciate as well, but I don't think he's a natural defensive player. I think Barca have got to focus on the off-ball side of things, and it feels to me Onana's more natural. And obviously Casado, we've got to throw into that now as well, because he seems to
As
be
someone
highly
mentioned here,
regarded by Hansi Flick.
yeah, yeah. No, exactly. Someone said for me, Casado is far better than Onana in terms of holding ball, long passes, 360. Yeah, I think probably if it's the thing is, I think depends a little bit in the profile that you want. No, if you want more of a technical in ball player in terms of building the play, probably you would go between a Casado or a Kimmich in this case. But if you want more of a physical player, a player that but the thing is of Onana is that we are talking here, but he's good in the ball as well. So, but if you want more of
Yeah,
a
I think he's
physical
very
profile,
underrated in that regard.
yeah,
I think he's very. But the thing I'd say about Onana is because he's playing for Everton, quite a physical, direct team. it's assumed that he's not the greatest not the
Technical, really
greatest
technical. Huh?
technically,
Yeah.
but I think he's technical as well. I don't think you quite see for Everton his technical qualities. I think more for Belgium we've seen
Yeah,
that, and I think the
yeah,
fact
that's
that
maybe the thing that's why he has impressed me more now than
yeah,
with
exactly. And
Everton,
it's
man.
hard to see when he's playing in a team that's so physical and wants to play in a certain way. Everton, we're probably one of the most direct teams in England, really, in terms of how they play. A lot of long balls, a lot of direct running and things like that. Not total opposite to what a Barca style would be, for example. It feels to me like Onana, we now see his full talent in this Belgium team, and I think he's been one of Belgium's best players. Probably Belgium's
Yeah,
best player, to be honest,
probably,
in
yeah,
the Euro
probably
so
most
far. I think he's
consistent.
been really excellent for him thus far. And yeah, I think he's a player who's ready to make the step up. And it feels to me, if Barca don't get him, he's going to go elsewhere. He's going to go to an Arsenal. He's going to go to another top team. If that makes sense. I think it's not a case of it's only Barca that are looking at him. So that feels like a good sign as well. But other teams obviously rate Onana too. So for me, it's one Barca should look to get done really. And to be honest, be an unpopular opinion this, but in terms of what Barca needs to improve directly the starting 11, I think Onana's a priority. To be honest, I'd go as far as that. I think pace and power is so key for this Barca team. Not so much pace actually, physicality and power feels a crucial thing, particularly under Hansi Flick. Barca next season will likely be playing more direct at times. Not totally direct, but they will be looking to get forward more often, and at times they will have to defend large spaces because when you've got so many players committed forward, you need players to cover as well. And it feels to me like Onana will be the key to that if he was to sign.
So you are clear that your priority in the midfield would be Onana, no? Ahead of Kimmich, no?
I think so. I think what I would say is it depends on how Casado performs in
In the
pre-season. If
preseason, yeah.
Casado
That is
impresses,
a
then
point that I also boggles in my mind because I want to see him and I think maybe he can. We are not expecting,
of
but
course.
maybe he can come in there and then this problem is solved. But I have another question, man. In terms of the midfield, that is something that I think all of the Barca fans that have been thinking. Also, have seen some videos. Imagine that, for example, we sign a Onana or a Kimmich. Who would you play together with him, man, in the double pivot? Pedri or Gundo, man? Because I think it is excluding Gavi, no, because Gavi will come later, no. But between the two, who do you put in there, man? And then the other one as a 10. I want to hear you first, then I say what I think.
Yeah, I think fundamentally Pedri is going to be number 10 next season. It feels like that's going to be the case. The team's going to run through Pedri, higher up the pitch, and obviously Gundo or whoever, and alongside him. I think what I'll say, just one thing about Kimmich and Onana is that if Gavi is back to full fitness, you could possibly argue that Kimmich is more needed than what Onana is, because obviously Gavi, he's going to give you that energy in midfield and cover large spaces. It it gives less of an importance to Onana. But fundamentally, the way I look at it in the here and now, I think Gavi is not going to be fully fit for a while. So it feels to me like
Yeah,
Gundo
I think only
is going to be
October,
the one.
November, I
So
think.
yeah, I think start of the season it's going to be Pedri higher at the pitch, Gundo deeper, and it's going to be the next option. There's no way Pedri and Gundo aren't going to be big players next season under Hansi Flick. I just can't see a world where that's not going to be the case. And for me, Onana, Gundo, Pedri, it feels like a really, really good midfield. I really do believe that. And I think if you're asking me in the here and now, without the context of pre-season, without the context of how the season starts, I'm still going to say Onana ahead of Kimmich. I do agree with the chat in a lot of ways, really.
Yeah.
Casado's an interesting one, though. If Casado impresses, there's no reason why, with Barca's situation, he can't force his way into the picture.
Glad you
Sorry,
man.
that's easy again.
Don't worry. Is it cold at England now or not? Or just
A
you
little
there?
bit. I mean, it will certainly be cold compared to Brazil and Spain.
Yeah,
I can't deny that.
yeah. No, but to be honest, now is because you guys are getting close into the summer, and we are getting close to the winter. But to be honest,
Of
bro,
course, yeah. Sorry,
I
I
haven't
keep
I
forgetting
haven't
that part.
I haven't
Yeah.
felt any changes in time. It's not hot, but it isn't cold at all. So I don't know. It's a bit crazy at the moment. But the chat is with you, man. Everyone here is going with Onana. I actually put in the chat that you guys are convincing me because there's a lot of
Onana.
good arguments to go for him first than Kimmich, to be honest, man. Especially knowing that if you don't get him, probably another team will do it.
It
No.
feels to me like Arsenal will get him if we don't. If we don't, it feels like
Yeah.
Arsenal want Onana to cover that midfield along with Rice and Ødegaard, and you can see why that is the case. So it feels to me like if other clubs are looking at him, Barca probably should be as well. But who knows? Who knows what avenue Barca go down? But it feels to me like a Hansi Flick kind of player, mentality-wise. There's no doubt his mentality is very strong as well. Yeah, it feels like one that Barca. If you're asking me in the here and now, one player for Barca to improve Barca's midfield situation, I think it is Onana for me. And I believe, obviously, goalkeeper and left wing, I think also needs strengthening. But I think Onana fundamentally improves a lot of things defensively for Barca in terms of covering the defence, not just leaving the back four to defend, defending as a whole team. I think Onana does improve that situation.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting one. I don't know if you can open the stream, man, because I think we can do something as we are talking. Or these ideas for the team. I am getting a side that we can build a lineup. Then we can try to build a Barca team that we would like
Yeah,
to see
go for it.
in the next season, man. And like a
Go
draw,
for it,
no,
man.
a draw for the team. Let me just see.
We're going to start with, so yeah, I can see, yeah, I
You are
can,
seeing, no?
that's it, that's it. It's,
Okay.
so do you want to start from the goalkeeper first and then move our way up the pitch?
Yeah. I think that would be
Yeah,
the.
we've got
Do you
it in
like, no?
4-2-3-1 system because I think it's safe to say that's going to be the shape we will play next season. I mean, for me, goalkeeper, I'm going to say it's not just based off the Euros. It's not just based off that. I did
Uh-huh.
believe a lot in this player before the Euros. He's impressed
Mamarashvili,
me
no?
certainly in the game against Saya. For me, it's Mama Dashvili. For
You,
me, I
you
really do believe that. I mean,
you are the ones that
he
would
really
sell in the boat that would sell Ter Stegen, no?
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard though to sell to Stegen unless it is to Saudi. I don't believe the top club's going to sell it, sign him. But I don't know, would you go? I'm happy to hear other suggestions if you have any, mate.
Oh, in terms of goalkeeper, do you say?
Yeah, I would be very keen on Mamadashvili.
Man, to be honest, it's because as you said, I see it really, really, really difficult to not say impossible to see Ter Stegen out of the club, man. Because I don't know if he wants to leave in the first time to start, no, and then the thing I don't think any club apart from the Saudi who wanted to sell him, and the thing is that I don't know if it's the same thing as the right back, to be honest, man. I think we have another priorities first, and to sell a keeper, then to bring another one. I don't know. It's a little bit of adding problems, no. But if
Yeah,
go
I
on, go
hear
on.
it definitely. It just feels to me like Ter Stegen. I think Kunde's performances have been good. I
Uh
think Ter
huh.
Stegen. I think yeah, I think
But
they're getting worse, the performances. I do really do. I think year on year his performances are dipping more and more. Yeah, it just feels to me like I'm very much of the belief Barca can't win big trophies because Stegen had an excellent season when Barca won the league 2 years ago. I can't deny that at all, or
uh
last
huh.
year rather. But the season just gone's been a pretty bad one. I think he's into his mid 30s now,
Yeah, yeah.
certainly early 30s. It doesn't feel to me like he can get back to that level, or even the level of 2017, 2018, 2018, 2019. It just feels to me Barca need a top keeper now, really. And Mamadashvili, I don't think it's going to cost that much in
Mm-hmm.
terms of compared to the other top goalkeepers in Europe.
I think
Um,
also I think he has only 1 or 2 years on his contract as well, so could be
yeah,
a
yeah,
decent.
it feels his mentality is a big thing as well. I'm looking at players for mentalities, Nana, Mamadashvili, Nico Williams. I want that kind of mentality, that kind of no fear mentality. It feels like Barca's last couple of years in Champions League and La Liga, there's been a fear to Barca, and the younger players need guidance. So to me, Mamadashvili is the answer to that in a lot of ways. And I'll be honest, it'd be high up in my priorities. Would be a goalkeeper. I'm not saying it's the top of my priorities, but it'll definitely be high up in the priorities, and not even necessarily Mamadashvili, because obviously there's other options as well. Baez as well, Valles, is an option as well from the Liga, who's had a good season. It's a hard one, but for me, in terms of a player I've looked at, in terms of in the Euros, in terms of this season, I thought, oh, he could do a real job for Barca. Is Mamadashvili. Another one is Emiliano Martinez, but for me, that's going to be even
A little
more
bit older,
expensive than
no?
Mamadashvili. But
Yeah.
again, another keeper I really like. But yeah, to me, Teshagen, if Barca are going to seriously progress this season, I think they need to move on for Teshagen. But and it feels to me like Hansi Flick is ruthless. I think you've seen it at Bayern. He's got that ruthless side to him. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying it will happen, but I could see it happening.
It could, no?
Maybe
It
the
could.
rest
I,
of it.
I can see it happen, man, but not now, to be honest. Maybe I don't know. For example, in the January transfer window, for example,
Potentially, yeah.
if we go to the season for the season and Ter Stegen doesn't perform or something like that, and then he decides to, I don't know, taking him off and bring another keeper. The thing is, for example, Mamardashvili, I don't know if it would be available in that at the moment, because
I think
I can see Mamardashvili
Mamardashvili.
being sold this window, because indeed his performances with Georgia has been very good. Probably I would say him. I don't know, between him and Donnarumma, the best keepers in the Euros at the moment.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
probably
It's
put
good
him
balance,
a little bit in front, because there are a lot of matches he has been the best player for Georgia, no? So
I think so. I think what
yeah.
I'd say about Mamardashvili is similar to Onana. If Barca don't sign him this summer, someone else will. I really do believe that. I think someone else will sign Mamardashvili from Valencia. I do believe that this summer. But I'm happy if you've got any suggestions of goalkeepers you like as well. It doesn't have to be Mamardashvili. I don't want to feel like I'm taking over on that.
No, yeah, let's let him there for now. To be honest, because he's a because for a Barca keeper, man, I think the playing with feet is always a very a key factor, no, in terms of keeper. So he's the one that fits in there very well. Another one, but I think that I like a lot, but I think is not a possible one. Is Unai Simon, of course, and also
Yeah.
plays in the national team, and all of the Barca, basically all Barca players and all that, and fits very well. But we know how things works with Bilbao, so we want to take
Yeah, it's
we want to.
difficult.
We want to take from
It's
them
probably like 5 million a
Nico
week at
Williams,
Bilbao.
and then Unai Simon. They will tell us to f off, no?
Well,
So
they've already got a £5 million a week contract. If Bilbao can afford to do that,
what? Repeat it. I didn't. I was doing
they'll probably put Unai Simon on a £5 million contract because they know that Bilbao can afford that kind of thing, and just to discourage Barca.
Let me just do something here, because someone said to increase the volume, and then let me just ease it better now.
No worries, no worries. Oh, can you not hear me, mate?
Do you is it good for you? Just sucking the steering if is
Yeah, I can hear you fine, mate.
yeah, okay, but anyways, I did increase a lot, but yeah, man, I would put my volume is fine. Okay. Maybe it's is yours H and MM, and try to increase yours, maybe to see if it's okay. But yeah, man, I would. I like the Mamardashvili option, man. To be honest, but another keeper that I like a lot as well. I don't know if you have seen him that much. Is Alex Meret, man, from Napoli. I don't know if
Okay.
you know him, no?
I've only probably seen him in Europe, to be fair, in Champions League games. When
Yeah,
he's
he,
not from what I can remember. Yeah.
no, he's a for me he's a very good shot stopping keeper in terms of 1v1 and all of that. In terms of stopping, he's very good, but in terms of the playing with his feet, he's not I wouldn't say he's at the level of Ter Stegen or Unai Simon, even Mamardashvili, you know. But uh, the thing is that with the keepers is that I am so convinced, man, that Ter Stegen is gonna stay and nothing gonna happen there, man. That is kind of difficult for me to say another keeper, man. But I like the Mamardashvili option, man. I would put in there just in case, man. If it ends up happening, no.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, across the back line as well. Obviously, we're going to go into the back four next.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll be honest.
let's go, man. Let's go to the right back, man. If
I'll be
you
honest. I can probably go across the whole back line and say
go
give a lot
with
of options already.
go like say four players in at once, no? Or the back four that we
I'd
think is
go
gonna be
Kunde,
okay.
Araujo, Kubasi, Balde
Balde.
across the back line. I
That
think. I don't know if
that
you'd agree with
is
that, mate. But
that is exactly the one that I would say, man. To be honest.
feels like what
My only
Barca
doubt
needs.
is if Araujo stays or not. But if he
Of
does,
course. I
I
mean, if
think
Araujo doesn't stay, probably tends to go Christensen.
yeah.
Um,
Man, even if Araujo doesn't stay, I would keep Koundé as a right back, man. I think he's doing the job there, and he's feeling, as we said before, he's feeling comfortable in there, and so I would keep him there. And then what I would do, but let me just put Araujo in here. What I would do if that happens is put Christensen in the starting 11, but I would keep in there I would try to keep Eric Garcia, man, and have Christensen, Kubarsi, Inigo Martinez, and Eric Garcia as the four options, man. I know
that
how
sounds
you
good to
feel about
me.
that, man. Because he's a player
Yeah.
that he's gonna be coming back anyway. So he has done well with Girona. The thing is, Eric Garcia is that a player that depends a lot of confidence, I think, and that's the key factor that helped him at Girona. No, much more chilling environment. No, much less pressure. No, but I would do that, man. If Araujo doesn't stay, but if he does, Araujo is in the starting 11 for sure.
Yeah, I mean, with Garcia, I think he's a decent bench option. I'd say that much, a decent rotation option. I don't think he's a starter
No. Starting no.
these days, but very decent option to have. I think it's a fourth or fifth choice centre back, over Nigo, obviously Kabasi and Araujo and possibly Kunde and Christensen. So he's a decent option to have. It'd be interesting if Garcia is happy to play that role, a lesser role, then by all means go for it.
Okay. Ali Kai, are you? Thanks, guy. No, thank you, man. Thank you for chilling the stream. Hopefully you have liked me. Eric Garcia in 2024 might as well play Langley. Well, I prefer Eric Garcia first, man. To be honest, I know that not the best option. No, but what I'm saying is just in case Araujo doesn't stay, But
Yeah.
but
I mean,
I
not
always
been
like
doing
Garcia,
spot
man.
long loads in the last few years, so it's nothing could be that bad.
I'm gonna be putting together with the center backs the backup options, and then you tell me what you think. For Araujo, I would put Christensen.
Yeah. I think it's the right-sided option alongside him. Yeah, I'd go with that.
With Kubarsi, Inigo, no? Inigo, especially
I'd say
being left-footed, no?
Garcia is the third choice, maybe, in that spot.
Yeah. But who do you keep first, Inigo or Eric? If you had to
I think
get rid of one.
I think Inigo is
no?
the better player.
Me too, for sure.
Yeah, I think he had a decent season last season. I felt, I think it's very much a backup option, but yeah, I think he's a decent backup option for Barca.
And then with Balde, would you keep Hector Ford as the backup left back, or?
I think so. Yeah, I think Hector Ford showed a lot of good potential last season. I think he's obviously an option at right back as well. Probably more natural at right back, but yeah, I think certainly for the purposes of this,
as a natural, he's a right back. He's in a left back, but in the first team he has played basically every match that he played as a left back and did very well there, man. But is there someone else a left back that we might be forgetting that going to be coming back or not? Yeah, I think it's well. Then Cancelo can be playing there. I put Cancelo as a right back. Imagine that he's gonna stay. If not, then there's a Julian Araujo there as well. But there's a lot of players that are
Yeah,
gonna be in this
Julian
preseason,
Araujo as
man.
well. It's
Wow.
not forgot about Julian Araujo actually. Yeah, obviously he's a good option to have at right back next season as well.
Yeah, people in the using in the chat is saying Hector for both left back and right back. Yeah, yeah. But he's a natural right back, but has played as a left back. No, to be honest, man,
Yeah,
I think that is a very good back four. No, or in
yeah.
terms
I
of
think it's
starting
not
players, in
wrong.
terms
Yeah,
of
right.
backup as well. Very
I mean, if you've got
different options, different profiles. No,
well, if you look at
and
the backup options, Cancelo, Christensen, Inigo, and Ford, that's a half decent back four in its own right. To be fair.
yeah. No, I like the backup options as well. It allows you to change things. If these players you can easily play a back three if you want as well. In term, for example, a Christensen, Kunde, Araujo, for example, or yeah, something like that, and then put an extra midfield in there, midfielder in the team. It gives you different options, no? Uh,
Absolutely.
but yeah, man, I think it would be that. Let's go to the midfield, man. Let's firstly put the players they're going to be there for sure, which are Gundogan for sure is gonna be
Absolutely.
being there.
Absolutely.
Pedro as
He'll
a
be in that
10,
left
no?
side of the spot.
Pedro as a 10, no? And then
Yeah, I think Pedri's a 10. It's probably most likely. Yeah.
and then a backup options for Gundo. I would put here Gavi. No, I don't know what you think, but I see Gavi as no
Yeah.
Gavi.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah. A stupid foot for
in
Gundo. Yeah.
in
I could
in
definitely go with
this
that. Yeah.
kind of box to box, no second DM option. No, and then as
I
a
think
first man, as a number six, um, I would put uh, well, that's because he's in the team as for now. I would put Frank De Jong. No. Um,
are we going to put on our like dream options? Like obviously we did it with Philly because that'd
Yeah,
be
no, yeah. That's the point. I would prefer to. Yeah, I think it's better to put the team that we would like to see. No.
I would personally go with this Onana stroke Casado.
Okay. Yeah, I
I mean, yeah,
was.
but obviously I have to go Kimmich if that's preferred. It's I don't mind at all.
Yeah,
But I think
I would.
as
Be,
actual sixes,
I would. I'm gonna be putting Onana, Koma Kimmich because I think probably could
yeah,
be one of the two. No, and then
that's good to me.
Casado. No, because I think all of
Yeah,
us agree that De Jong would be the first option to sell. No,
I
so
think so. Yeah, I think it's, and I think alongside Pedri, I think it has to be for me Lopez. Surely,
yeah, nah, for sure.
I
What?
don't think anyone else.
I almost forgot it for me, man. Nah, for sure. He,
I think it has to be one of them.
let me just Garcia, Lenglet, Torre, second Araujo. That's what's going to happen to them. Wow, man, that's the thing. There's a lot of lonely players coming back. No, Garcia, man, I think Girona is going to be trying to keep him, and then we will see Lenglet. I think Barca one way or another will be shipping him. Pablo Torre, no idea, no idea. But looking at the current team, I don't know if he has spaces, if he has place in the team. Julian Araujo, I think is going to be having the preseason, but I think also depends what's going to be happening with Cancelo and Desta. I would try to sell him even if he's injured. Is there any players of this one that the chat mentioned that you would like to try to keep in the team, or all of them you
I
try
think
to get rid of?
Araujo might be one
Julian Araujo, no?
potentially.
Yeah, me too,
Yeah,
me
because
too.
if Barca don't re-sign Cancelo,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I think Araujo as a backup right back could be a good option.
Do,
If Hector is going to stay at left back, but I don't feel that strongly about it. You know, I'd say, oh, we've absolutely got to keep Araujo, but I think it's an option.
would you keep Cancelo first or Julian Araujo? What would be your priority in there?
It depends how expensive Cancelo is, and if it comes with any kind of obligation to buy. I
Is,
think if it does come with an obligation to buy, I'd probably go Araujo. To be fair, I think Cancelo's the better player, obviously, but I think in Barca's situation, backup player. You know, I think Cancelo is a backup player. I think could
Yeah,
cause
for
quite a
me,
few problems in terms of harmony
Kunde's ahead of
with
him
this
in the right
core
back.
squad.
Do you see? You probably watched any Portugal matches, no? But do you see that? I don't know if it was in the first or the second match that he was playing as a DM, but not
Yeah, it
as a
was
right back coming
it
to the
was
midfield. He was
Thursday, wasn't
playing
it?
in the midfield, like a number six, number eight. I was quite impressed by that, to be honest. But
Yeah, his performance was good. I can't lie, it was good. I mean, I think he's a good player. I've no question about that. I think the problem is, would João Cancelo accept being a non-guaranteed starter? We've seen at Man City that wasn't the case. We've seen at
yeah,
Bayern Munich that wasn't the case. Would we
that's a
see
good.
it at Barca? He'd be able to be willing to be that? Because for me, Koundé and Balde are the better options than Cancelo in terms of defensively. And I think
No, me too.
Balde's very good going forward as well. And I think the fact with Koundé is the fact that he can tuck into a back three and help Barca shape in that regard. I don't think Cancelo can do that as well. But yeah, I'm definitely open to keeping Cancelo, no question about it. I think the talent is absolutely there, but it has to be in the right context.
Yeah,
It has to be in the right context.
the
It's
conditions,
not a
no? Yeah.
situation where there's a lot of noise around the player. He's just got to be a player that settles into the team straight away, like he did at the start of last season, really. But it felt like the second half of last season was a lot more difficult for Cancelo than the first half of the season.
Yeah, especially in the especially after the away game against PSG, no? I think from then
Yeah, it
onwards
felt like his performances dropped a lot after that.
the there was kind of a inflection point for him, in terms of a negative perspective, But yeah, man, I would try to keep him as well if the conditions are right. Is not, and it's not very expensive, because I think he's a player that can give you different things, and he's a good player, of course. He at some point in Man City, mm, not putting in the table the fact that he got a problem with Guardiola and all of that. But at some point in City, he was the best right back slash left slash
Yeah,
fullback in the world. There
probably
was
best
some,
fullback in the world
there was
at
some
that point.
performance that were fantastic. So definitely a player.
100%. I mean, when you look at that team now, even before we got onto the wingers and the centre forward on number 9,
Uh huh.
it's strong. It's a lot of good options there. Even off the bench, there's a lot of good
No,
options here.
and
So,
a very balanced team, no, which I
yeah,
think
exactly
the
that.
lacked for Barca, having different, like, at least two options for every position. No, you look this team, every position there is at least two players that could play as starters both. Of course, there are positions, for example, Balde would be the starting left back for sure. Gundo would be playing basically every time. Pedri in the number 10. But every player that is in here could do the job, no? And
Absolutely. There's no question
could
about
help
it.
the
It's,
team, no? Whenever
I mean,
needed.
we've only actually added 2 new players to this.
Yeah,
We have to
only
remember that. We've only added
Onana,
2 new players.
Onana and Mamardashvili, no? Essentially, no? And,
Mamardashvili, Onana, or
and
Kimmich.
or
It's only
Kimmich, no?
actually 2 players in there. And all of a sudden, with only a couple of players, it looks very strong all of a sudden.
Yeah, and I think that's actually one of the points we why Flick was signed, no? Because since the first moment he always been clear that he wouldn't like to change the team that much, no? In terms of selling 5-6 players and bring 6 new, no? Which kind of what at least what the media was saying, that Xavi would like to do, no? So that's the thing, is keeping the base of the team and adding 2-3 max players that could bring another level to the team, no? Which
Absolutely. And it looks strong when you look at it like this. It looks strong to me.
so let's go to the wing, man. Right wing,
Okay.
Lamine, no, for sure. Uh,
Yeah.
Lamine, Lamine for sure, and then
This is a
Rafinha.
hard one now.
Yeah, now we're getting in a
I'm
difficult territory
debating.
because there are a lot of options, no? Especially in the
Yeah,
left
I'm
wing, no?
debating Rafinha on the left, though.
You would put Rafinha in the left,
Yeah, I
even
think
if, but
it's a hard one because
but let's imagine, like, for example, Nico Williams comes in, and then you have Nico Williams
I
and
think you can stick with. Yeah, I think we can go Lamine and Rafinha on the right. I
no,
do
but
think that actually.
anyways, that doesn't mean that Rafinha cannot play in the left wing as well, depending
Of
on the
course,
match.
of course.
he can be playing there for sure. But for example, for if we exclude Nico Williams, I imagine Nico Williams doesn't get signed. My starting left winger would be Rafinha at this moment in time, no. But if we can add
Yeah,
another player, no, I would put him in the left, in the right. Sorry.
absolutely. Can I have a very unpopular opinion here?
Go on,
Very
man.
unpopular opinion,
As you
essentially.
want, bro. Go on, go on.
I'll see how the chat might explode in a second when I
Let me
say
let me just
this.
see before I say. Let me just see this comment. We should free both Joaos to create space for wages.
Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah,
agree on
man.
that.
Yeah, João Felix for sure. João Felix, I wouldn't keep him. But João Cancelo is what we said. If the conditions are right and he accepts the role, I think is a player that gives
Very useful
things that
sport
Barca
player
needs.
at the very least.
Yeah, but go on, man. What is the unpopular opinion?
Okay. If Barca did sign Nico Williams,
Uh
I
huh.
would still go from the start of games, in terms of first choice players,
Uh huh.
I would still go with Yamal and Rafinha.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what
Rafinha
I'll
in
say
the
is,
left, Lamine in the right.
I think it's the output Rafinha produces for this Barca team. Compared to Nico, it is far better than Nico's output at this moment in time. I think Nico is more. I think the biggest thing here is the fact that Yamal doesn't have to play every minute of every game because Rafinha can
Mm.
play there. He can even play Nico on the right wing if needed from time to time. He has actually started his career on the right hand side.
Yeah, no, no,
But
no,
for
for sure.
me,
In Bilbao, he has played
Yamal and
there. So.
Rafinha combined brilliantly. As good as Yamal and Nico has been at the Euros, I still think Yamal and Rafinha has been better for Barca this season. I do genuinely still believe that. Particularly second half of the season, you're
Mm-hmm.
looking at the PSG game, the way they combined.
No, was the
As good as
best Barca player for sure. You know?
it's not something I'm absolutely 100% on, but I do believe that Rafinha will give you more output than Nico at this moment in time. And that's not to say I don't want to sign Nico. I do want to sign Nico, but I don't think he's that good a player that he can be a guaranteed starter. If that makes sense, I think he's definitely starter 11 quality, but he's not the absolute best left winger in the world. If that makes sense, I know it'll
I,
be unpopular, but I do
no,
believe that Rafinha, in terms of the output he gives this Barca team, cannot be understated in that regard. He does play. He's a left footer on the left wing. He keeps the width on that side of the pitch. He's never going to really look to come inside. He's going to make the runs, time the runs superbly well. And his output last season was better than anyone in the squad. So it's a hard one for me to say, Barca dropping Rafinha outright. But for the purposes of this, I would say Williams stroke Fatty on the left hand side.
Williams and Fati, no? Uh,
I would say that. I think Ferran and Felix, I'd probably be more willing to let go. But I'm not, listen, if it's Ferran or Felix instead of Fatty, I'm not going to lose too much sleep about them. I can't lie.
yeah, I would probably say it's gonna in the like how is the word in the ideal world probably would be Williams and then one off Fati, João Felix and Ferran probably one of them. No, it would be the ideal. I would and you as well. No, go with Fati because we think is the player that can give the most even if with the injury and all of that. Is the player that has the highest potential of all of the three, but the people in the chat, at least Lewis here, he wasn't agreed with you, man. Rafi is
Oh,
great, so
okay, very good, very good.
Rafi is great, so I agree. No, to be honest, man, what you said isn't like an understatement. I think you have a lot of something that makes a lot of sense and could happen. The only doubt that comes in my mind is the in the sense of paying like 58 million for Williams and for him not starting to play doesn't mean he will be in the bench. No, not at all.
I think with
But
that, with the
that's
wingers
the
next season,
only yeah.
they could definitely share minutes out, because obviously we know how long a season it will be for Barca next season. And listen, I think if Rafinha has a slow start to the season or Nico has a slow start to the season, the other can replace the other, no question about it. And let's not forget, Lamine is still only,
Yes,
he'll only be 17 years old. He's
17. Yeah,
16 now. He'll be
that's
17 at
crazy,
the
bro.
start of next season. You can easily say Rafinha Williams and balance Lamine's minutes out because I think that is important. We don't want a repeat of Pedri, Gavi, Fatty. We don't want a repeat of that at all, and that is the opportunity Williams gives you.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you can rotate these players so easily because they're all very good players. So I think even that is one way of looking at it. But the way I look at it is that the 58 million allows you to balance out your squad and have a very high quality bench and players who can impact the game and a lot of rotation in the squad, which is important for the condition and fitness of the team throughout the season. So I'm happy with that front three behind the striker.
Yeah, no, and the thing is that with all of this, for example, let's imagine would be Pedro as number 10 for sure, and then Lamine and Williams, for example, are three players that are going to be combining all of the time, no? As we have seen
Absolutely. I think
in the Spanish national team, that they are looking for each other basically every time. Especially, and also Lamine and Williams, even if they are playing in different wings, they try to reach themselves. So there are players that already know themselves and already work very well together. No, and with Gundo in behind and Onana Kimmich.
well, Gundo will push up a lot, so it'll look like a 4-1-4-1 a lot of the time as well.
And also, for example, depending on the match and depending on the circumstances of the game, Gundo and Pedro can be changing the position as well, because
Absolutely,
Gundo as a number,
Pedri can drop in.
Gundo as a number 10 works very well as well.
We've seen it for Germany in the
Yeah,
Euros.
has been playing there. No?
I think you can rotate a lot. You can see Pedri potentially dropping in to play deeper and getting more involved in pulling the strings in midfield. There's no question about that as well. So it looks strong, mate. It looks very strong to me.
Mm-hmm. Yamal should play less. He's still young. Don't burn him out on like Pedro. Yeah, it's exactly what Oscar was saying. That actually having Lamine and Rafinha and Nico Williams, I think allows you to give a little bit of rest to Lamine, no? Because as Oscar said, for example, you can play Rafinha and Williams, no problem, no? So that would work. I think that works perfectly, man. That would be the ideal, no? Just before we go to the forwards, man, any news on who's City left winger?
Oh yes, okay. Philippine.
Yeah, I'll let you answer that one, because to be honest, I don't know that much about him, but I think it would be more of only an option if Williams doesn't happen, no? Because I don't know if you have watching a lot or no. Is he like a player that will give, for example, to be a starting 11 player for Barca or something like that? I don't know.
Well, what I say is I've seen quite a bit of Philly G this season from being a Leeds fan. Obviously, he's played the same league as Leeds this season.
Yeah, in the Championship.
He's a player that can play on both sides. I'd say the player I'm comparing most to is probably Dembele.
Okay.
I'm not saying he's Dembele's level necessarily, but the fact is he's good on both feet. He can play on both wings, which is very helpful. Is he as good as Nico Williams right now? The simple answer for me would be no, to be honest. Is he a starting player for Barca right now? Probably not. But a good option off the bench, a good rotation option, yeah, I don't see why not. As a third or fourth choice winger, I'd still much prefer Williams, I can't lie, but he's a good player. There's a lot of potential there. There's no question about that.
Yeah, and I think it would be definitely way cheaper, no? Than
yeah, absolutely no question. Loads cheaper, salary wise, transfer fee wise, definitely.
Yeah, but I think we all agree, and the club as well, no? That Williams is the priority in there, no? And
I think so. Yeah, I think it has to be, unless there's a big kind of term where the transfer budget is impacted that much. I think it has got to be a priority. Nico Williams, definitely.
Okay, so for getting close to the end now, man. The number 9 that I think is one that also a lot of people in the Barca community have. Some people have one opinions, other have others. I'm gonna be putting Lewandowski. With I don't know. I think you have a similar opinion to the Ter Stegen, you know. I have as well, but in the opposite side, in the sense that I think Leva probably is going to be ending up in staying, because difficult to see him leaving, and also difficult to see a better Barca getting a better player, no? But what do you think, man? Leva and Roque, maybe.
I think so. I think Leva and Roque is what I'd say. What I'd say, I'm not 100% on the Leva hype train. I think he's got to improve. It seems weird saying that about a 35, going on 36-year-old player, but I think he's just had a particularly poor season, the season just gone. I think under Flick, he's got a more ruthless manager now. I think if Lever's performances drop off, I think you'll see Roque surprisingly going into that spot quite a lot next season. Certainly more than he did under Xavi. I think Lever has played probably the best football of his career under Flick, which gives me encouragement. But I think if Barca did have no financial issues, I would be signing an Alexander Isak like there's no tomorrow, to be honest. If there was no financial issue or someone like that, I wouldn't be sticking with Lever, at 35, 36. I would be looking to upgrade. But in Barca's financial situation, I'd be saying Lever Roque would be my preferred options, I think. If money was no object, I'd be saying Alexander Isak or someone like that coming in as a main number 9 next season. But the situation is, we'd go for Harry Kane if that was the situation. If money was no issue, but unfortunately it is. So I'd say Lever and just give him one more season and see if he can recapture some of that magic.
Yeah, and also I think the possibility of playing with Hansi Flick, man, and knowing that the best version, that we have seen of Lever, the when he was the best player in the world was with Flick. So I think we all want to see him playing with Flick. No, but I have a question for you, which relates to what Harry has said in the chat. I would have kept Mark Gill personally. He's similar to Levin. Would have competed with Roque for it. What are your feelings with the Gill situation, man? What have you tried to keep him? Does it? It doesn't matter to you that much the fact that he's leaving. What do you think? Would you prefer him between Roque? What are your feelings about that, man? Then I say after.
I think he's close to Roque's level. I do believe that, and I think the issue with you is that he's a victim of the fact that Barca have spent big money on a project centre forward. Roque is a project, and I think it's natural that Barca are going to prioritise Vitor Roque in that kind of sense. For me personally, I really liked what I've seen from Gui, this season. I can't question that at all. He's come off the bench again, not played a lot of minutes, of course, as well. But you can't really argue with what he's done when he's been on the pitch.
Amount that he played, he did well. No, scored some goals.
Yeah,
I remember that goal against Bilbao. No, which was very good. No?
He's played well, but it's a hard one. It is a hard one. I can see from his point of view why he wants to move on. But to Chelsea, is he going to play much more for Chelsea?
Yeah,
I can't see it at this moment in time. I really can't see it. I think it's a real shame. Again, a player who would like to have a buyback clause on, and I think a player who could have really been the second choice strikers, ahead of Roque this season potentially. But it's obvious the club are going to prioritise, the player they've spent and committed, a large sum of money on in terms of Vitor Roque. And it's a shame, but I think he's a very good player. I'm not happy to see him leave at all. I really wanted him to stay. I really wanted to stay. But listen, if he expects to start games at Barca at 17, he's quite delusional, really. Ahead of the options
Barca, to be honest. No, that's the point with Gil, man. To be honest, I would have liked to kept him as well, at least to see him in the preseason to see what could have done, because
not everyone can be Lamine or Pedri or Gavi. That's what he has to remember. Some players develop later.
I don't know if he thought maybe a little bit better than what he is at the moment, or as he saw that a lot of young Barca La Masia players have been put straight away to the starting 11. He thought I will have that opportunity as well, but Leva is still there, as you said. Roque, Barca paid a lot of money, so but that's the point, man. Going to Chelsea, to be honest, I don't. You that watch more Prem than me, man. But I don't think that it's guaranteed that he's going to be playing that much in Chelsea, to be honest. Because someone said in the chat, man, Harry, Gil is rumored to be going on loan to La Liga, Sevilla, or Strasbourg. So what's the point, man? If you are getting leaving a Barca because you don't feel you can play there, but you are going to another player, then maybe you're going to be getting loaned straight away. So it doesn't make much sense, no?
No, absolutely. I think it's a short-sighted decision from Mark Gui. I can't lie about it. I think I think he has been badly instructed. I think he will. I think he really will regret this move, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't know, man. probably is a player that would be like to keep. It would be nice to keep in. Yes, but to be honest, don't think it's that big of a problem not to be losing him. To be honest, man.
Yeah, I
But
think if it can include a buyback, I think as Harry's mentioned, I think that'd be great. But
yeah,
if
the back
Barca can't,
the same as Fire, no?
it's one of those things. I have high hopes for Roque this season as well. I really do. Yeah, I think whether you think he's better or not than Gui, it doesn't really matter at this point because Roque is going to be the one that Barca stick with.
Yeah,
And I think
no,
Roque's precision
now
of
it
foot
doesn't.
and pace in
That doesn't.
behind will really help next season.
Now it doesn't make basically any sense to get rid of Rocky, no? Because if you got rid, the thing was I think was going to be or Rocky or Gil, no? Now that Gil is out, Rocky I think stays for sure, no?
Absolutely, absolutely.
If
That's
we
what I
say,
mean.
go on.
So, well, what I was saying was, what I meant was that as much as I don't think there's much difference in terms of quality between Roque and Gui, but
Yeah,
I think from a Barca fans' point of view, us as Barca fans, we've got to accept that Barca are going to stick in their financial situation with the project player rather than Mark Gui, because the reward, if Roque does perform, is much higher, really, in terms of, Barca kind of need this to work with Roque, because otherwise it's been a wasted
in
project,
a
and
waste,
it's
no?
kind of been Barca just kind of trying to copy Real Madrid with Endrick, really, if we're being honest.
Yeah. If we sell 5 million, sack tackle. Yeah, five. We have talked before about 5, man. 5 million is the thing is that 5 million is basically nothing for Barca, but for example, 15 million is a lot for Porto. So you have to try to find an intermediate, no? So we came to the
Well, I would
conclusion
just
that
take, from
that
what Ills has said, I would take the first 7 words out and just say Sack Deco. To be
directly,
honest,
no?
I'm not. I mean, I'll be honest, guys. Listen, I appreciate much what Deco did for Barca as a club, as a player, but as a sporting director,
Nah,
it's not
yeah,
for
yeah.
me. I
No,
can't lie. I
no,
don't know if
until
you agree with this, Octavio, but he's not for me, Deco. I just don't like the way he goes about his business. I don't think it really represents the Barcelona way.
uh-huh.
I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here, but I'm just not a big fan of Deco. But even more so if he sells Faye for 5 million, it seems a bit, yeah.
Nah, to be honest, bro, I don't think I can disagree with you, to be honest, because what we have seen from Deco as a sporting director until now at Barca, I would probably give, if I had to give a rating, man, I would probably give, being generous, still, yeah, for 4.5, to be honest.
If
Be-
if Deco hadn't have played for Barcelona, wasn't a Barcelona legend as a player,
Yeah,
he'd have been sacked in the
probably
summer.
be out for
He
sure,
would have
no,
been
already.
sacked in the summer, and that's the fact we have
Man,
to look at. That's when we were evaluating this. He would
uh,
have been sacked in the summer.
I
He
don't.
really would have been.
Yeah. The Harry in the chat is saying as well. I don't disagree at all with Sekdago. I think it's a little bit of a unanimity in all of Barca fan. No, for example, if we had the opportunity tomorrow to Sekdago and bring, for example, Matteo Alemani back, I think every Barca fan will do that in a heartbeat and with eyes closed. No,
Absolutely.
but the thing is, I don't know if that is possible. No, and
The
also
chances of that happening under Juan Laporta,
yeah, man. That's
yeah,
the thing. Because knowing
makes me
that
feel like.
Matteo Alemany,
I totally agree, though. I really
and
do. I'd offer Alemany a blank checkbook and say, whatever money you want, just come back. Please come
nah,
back, please.
I think
It's
would it would make things much easier, man. Because the thing with Deco is, I don't think he in terms of the decision that he makes, he doesn't move with common sense. No, he moves with I don't know what the agents that he has context offer to him. No,
his heart rules
uh,
his head with every decision.
exactly, man. Exactly.
It's uh, it's just one of those. But as Hill says, Laporta won't bring
No, no.
Alemany back.
I
He
think
probably won't
it's
sack Deco because
very
he has too
difficult.
much pride.
Definitely.
It's uh, it's a tough one, mate. But I'm gonna have to jump off anyway, mate. I'm gonna have
No, for
to
sure.
leave
I
us at this
will.
point.
I think I was going to say for us to come to an end now as well. Let me see. Let's give an opportunity just for a less question or less comment in the
Absolutely,
chat,
absolutely.
and then we go, man. Thank you for the stream. No, thank you everyone that tune in. I'm not gonna be saying the names because I don't want to lose anyone. But everybody that was here, Harry Lewis, who else, man? Everyone, Hazed, everyone that was before. Thank you very much, man. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream and hopefully
Shadow as well. Shadow thinks
Shadow,
made a
no?
few comments.
Think
Well, see if anyone else. Hazed, sorry.
Hazed, Finky, Ali,
H11,
Barca Nation was here as
Venki,
well. Hussam, what?
yeah, Fascination. I think
It's got a lot of people, huh? Let,
DRQZY. Yeah, I was going to say DRQZYY. I'm not sure how we pronounce that, but thank you as well.
let me just see this last comment here. Hot take here. I would keep Frankie this season, reduce his wages when he wants to negotiation if he focuses on euros, and he can be a good player with a CDM. Wow, I think that's good. That could be the very good scenario for everyone, no? But the thing is, I don't see him. I think what Frankie wants, man, is to to complete the last 2 years of his contract and then leave for free, man. I think it's very
It
clear,
feels
to be
like that.
honest.
It does. I
Yeah,
can see what Harry's saying. I can see what he's saying because we're seeing
that would
Frankie
would
in
help
four
Barca a
two.
lot, to be honest, if that happened. Eh? But,
Well, in a 4-2-3-1 at Ajax, it worked
yeah.
well. He had a holding midfielder alongside him. He was just playing as like left-sided in the pivot. He wasn't really having too much defensive responsibility, which is what Harry is saying. It seems here, and that's a very fair point. But what I would say is this is 4 or 5 years ago we're talking. When Frankie last played in this system, and Frankie's performances over such a long period of time. The fact that Barca have got better options, we've got Gulde, we've got Gavi, we've got Pedri, potentially, a Kimmich or Onana or Zubimendi, someone like that signing as well. It doesn't feel necessary to me to keep Frankie, particularly when we could lose him for a free. I can hear what Harry's saying, but it's not something I'd agree with. And would Frankie reduce his wages? I can't see it personally. I'd love to be
I know.
wrong, but I can't see it. For me, I think it's time to move on from Frankie. I really do. I think he's Barca's Paul Pogba to an extent in terms of at Man United, where it's obviously a lot of excuses are made for him. But at the end of the day, it's not been ideal for Frankie at the football club. I can't lie about that. But he's got to take some responsibility as well for his performances too. I really do believe that.
Nah, for sure, man. Nah, I agree. I think even if all the colleagues wanted him to succeed at Barca, I think is the time. Is the time to try
I
to
think
move
so.
on.
I think unfortunately, it does sadden me because I thought Frankie, he was a natural Barca player when he first signed. I believe that, and it just hasn't really from minute one really ever looked like seriously working.
Yeah,
Maybe at times he's had
the
some
fit,
good runs
no,
of form, but
never fitted at Barca, no. It, the thing he has
it's
played
never looked right.
in
It just hasn't looked right at all.
has played in different systems, different positions in the midfield, but never really found the way.
And ultimately, the Eredivisie is a much easier league,
Yeah,
in
for sure.
terms of we have to obviously acknowledge that as well. But unfortunately, that is that's my take on it anyway, mate.
Now I think we all can agree in that, man. But that's it, bro. Personally, thank you for coming, man. I enjoyed a lot of the
No
stream.
problem at all, mate.
Hope
Absolute pleasure, and
hopefully you did as well. And if you want,
hopefully more good news when we
next
next jump
week
on. Thanks
we
very
can
much for
be.
having me, mate.
Nah, thank you for coming, man. See you soon, man. Next week and whenever you want.
Cheers, mate. See you later.
See you, bro. Thank you.
See you later, guys.
Yeah, that's gonna be it, lads. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream. And I think it was a very good one, very in depth, no analysis here we had with Oscar, and then. But that's it, guys. Thank you everyone for coming, and hopefully next week we can come back, man. See you soon. Good weekend for everyone.